A very big hello to my cutest little champions. I hope all of you are doing great. And for those of you who are feeling overwhelmed that ma'am, I have not covered so many chapters yet. There are so many chapters still left. There are so many chapters you have posted also, but I have not covered it. So first let me tell you one very important thing, that is, you know what makes most people fail in their life and also in some small exams like this? It's what? It's self-doubt. If you are not going to believe in yourselves, no one else will do that. So have that belief that yes, Jasmine, you can do it. You will definitely be able to do it. You just have to work hard. Okay, and have that mindset. I am going to do it. This is my timetable. This is what I'm going to follow. This is how my plan is. And don't just make the timetable, but work on it. Try to achieve whatever you are dreaming for. That's the thing. Okay, so if you start, first of all, you have to start and then you will go on. If you're scared to just start off, you will not know where is this journey going to take you to. So make sure you're starting off, and if at all you feel that whatever I said makes sense, definitely let me know. And if at all you have any other things in your head which is not making you feel good, I am here. Please do not worry about anything. You can comment down, or if you want, I do not know how in other ways you can connect, but anyways, I am here. You can comment down whatever your query is. If at all you have a doubt in a chapter, ask me. I am here to solve it out as well. Works? Now, how many marks does this chapter give you? It gives you 10 marks. Maximum it can give you 11 marks. So according to two blueprints, 11 marks. According to one, it gives 10. Now, MCQ, if you see, it's very much common. So here you got 2 MCQs. Here you saw 3 MCQs, and here also there are 3 MCQs. So with that, I get to understand the minimum amount of MCQs is 2, and the maximum it can go is what? 3. And over here, long type answer. Every single blueprint has one long type answer. That means one 5-marker question is definitely going to come from this chapter. And then do you see 2-marker? No, 2-marker is not there. 3-marker? Yes, 3-marker is there. Here, here and here. In all the 3 blueprints, you have one 3-marker question also coming off from this particular chapter, my dear children. So are we going to prepare really well for all the 1-markers, 3-markers and the 5-markers? Yes, definitely. Okay, we are going to do that. Now over here we have the first question, and if at all you know the answer of this question, you can tell me, tell in the comment section even before I solve the question. You can try it out by yourselves. Okay, ready? Okay. First one, scrotum helps in maintaining the temperature of the testis, which is A, lower than the normal body temperature. Which is A, lower. That means how many temperature lower than the normal body temperature? 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. So over here we have this, over here also we have this. We can cancel out these 2 options. Now, each of the testes has about B compartments. How many compartments are there? I told you 250 team leads are there. Testicular lobules, TL, team leads. You can remember like that. So here also 250, here also 250. I cannot cancel out anything. And measure C centimeter in length. What is the length of the testis, my dear children? 2 to 3 centimeter the width, and 4 to 5 centimeter is what? The length. I always tell you 2, 3, 4, 5. You can remember like that. So 4 to 5 centimeter is the length. So over here we have 4 to 5. Hence this becomes our answer. For one question, you should just give 1 minute of your time, not beyond that. Fine. Next, signals for parturition originate from. Signals for parturition, my dear children, where does this originate from? Do you know that? From the baby. From the baby. The fetus, right? Now the fully grown fetus is going to release some androgens, and the placenta which is there in the womb, my dear children, the placenta which is there in the womb, it is going to convert this androgen into what? Estrogen. What does the estrogen do? Estrogen will make certain receptors very active. Certain receptors active. What are these receptors? These are oxytocin receptors. That means the oxytocin hormone can come and bind on these receptors. Where are these receptors, my dear children? It is on the muscular layer, which is known as myometrium. Now, when the baby tries to move out, when it goes to the cervix region, there are certain stretch receptors. Stretch receptors become active because the cervix is going to stretch, and it gives signal to the maternal pituitary. This stretch receptors gives neuronal signal, nervous signal, okay, to the maternal pituitary, which is there in the mother's brain. Now the maternal pituitary is going to release a hormone which is known as oxytocin. What is it? It is known as oxytocin. And now this oxytocin which is being released comes to the blood and binds over here on the receptors, oxytocin receptors. And now the myometrium, it is on the myometrium layer, which is the muscular layer, it will contract and the baby will finally move out. Now you tell me, signals for parturition, for the expulsion of the baby, comes from both the placenta. The placenta is being released in this. Also the fully developed fetus. So your answer would be what? A. We have discussed this in the one shot, which is why I am not stretching it up, because it might be just a waste of time. Okay, so your answer is A. Now it's not placenta only, it's not oxytocin released from the maternal pituitary, it's not fully developed fetus, all of it comes later. Both placenta as well as fully developed fetus is your answer. Now during embryonic development, embryo's heart forms at the end of, or heart is formed at the end of what? The first time when someone dies, we look for the heart rate. Similarly, when the first time a person is born, my dear children, we check the heart rate. So it's by the first month itself that your heart is being formed, the embryo's heart is being formed. So it's not first trimester means first 3 months. Second trimester means second 3 months. First month is your answer, not the third month. And over here, the list of things are being given. On the first month, your heart is being formed. Second month, you have the limbs and the digits being formed. By the third month, that means by the end of the first trimester, your most organ system and also your external genital organ is being formed. In males, it will be penis, as well as in the case of females, it will be what? The mons pubis and all the other parts out there, labia majora, labia minora, and all of this thing. Now, by the fourth month is skipped in your NCERT. Let's go to the 5th month. Your fetus is going to start to move, and it will have hair on its head, and on the 6th month it will have hair on the body. It will have eyelashes will be separated, eyelashes will be formed, eyelids will be separated by the end of 6th month. Now by the end of 6th month, what do you call end of 6th month? This is the second trimester. First 3 months over, second 3 months are also over. So by the end of second trimester, or what do you call 24 weeks, every month has 4 weeks. So 6 months has 6 into 4, 24 weeks, you will have your eyelid separated and body covered with hair and all of this thing happening. So your answer for this question would be C. Okay. Next, the vas deferens receives ducts from the seminal vesicle and opens into urethra as. So vas deferens comes, okay, vas deferens comes and it receives what? It receives seminal vesicles juice, that is fructose, my dear children, and both of them together are going to open into what? The ejaculatory duct. The ejaculatory duct, and now the ejaculatory duct opens into what? The urethra. So from this side also you get this side also you get something, this side also you get thing. Both of them open into what? The urethra out there. So your answer for this question would be what? Ejaculatory duct, not epididymis, not efferent ductules, not ureter. Okay, so over here is the picture. If you want to see it, you can clearly see it. This is the vas deferens that is coming. Here the seminal vesicle, both of them opens into what? The ejaculatory duct. And now the ejaculatory duct opens into the urethra, which is this. Okay. Now, next question. The function of myometrium layer present in the uterine wall is 2. What is the function of myometrium, the muscular layer present in the uterine wall, my dear children? The muscular layer, it is a muscular layer, so it has to undergo contraction and relaxation. It would be undergoing involuntary. You cannot control it. I cannot say, hey, stop it. I cannot say that, hey, you myometrium, please stop it. You cannot contract. Myometrium is going to contract under the will of the brain, so it is involuntary. Okay, please remember it is made up of smooth muscles, and smooth muscles are involuntary muscles, and they are responsible for what? Strong uterine contraction during the process of parturition. It is not responsible for undergoing cyclic changes. The one that undergoes cyclic changes is endometrium, the innermost layer. So you have the outermost layer, which is known as perimetrium. This gives protection to the uterus. Then you have the middle layer, that is known as myometrium, which is made up of the muscles, and then you have the innermost layer, okay, which undergoes the cyclic changes, which is the endometrium. And now the one that is helping in the implantation process, again, that is endometrium, not this. So your only answer is what? B. Okay, your answer would be B. Going ahead, Sertoli cells are found in, where do you think Sertoli cells are found in? Sertoli cells are found in seminiferous tubules. Sertoli cells are there over here, and also you have the germ cells. Sertoli cells plus the germ cells are found in what? The seminiferous tubules, my dear children. Outside that, in between the seminiferous tubules, you have another cell which is known as Leydig cell. The Leydig cell is responsible for production of the male sex hormone, which are known as androgens. What do you call this? Androgens. So Sertoli cells are found in the ovaries and secrete progesterone, wrong. Adrenal cortex and secrete adrenaline, wrong. Seminiferous tubules and provide nutrition to what? The germ cells, which are the spermat, which is soon going to form what? The sperms. Okay, they are going to form these sperms. So Sertoli cells are the ones that provide nourishment to the germ cells out there. Then, cool? Fine. Now, the cells that secrete testicular hormones, androgens, are, I just told you right now, The ones that is between the, seminiferous tubules, the cells which are there in the interstitial space. What do you call them? Leydig cells. And they are the one that releases male sex hormone, that is androgens. And the most famous male sex hormone is what? Testosterone. So your answer for this question is not Sertoli cells, not germ cells, not spermatogonia. It is what? The Leydig cell out there. Remember, inside the seminiferous tubule, you have Sertoli cells and also the germ mother cell. Okay, germ mother cell, which is also known as what? Spermatogonia, which will later form the sperms. So outside that, you have the Leydig cells that is responsible for androgen production. Fine. Next, seminal plasma in human males is rich in, what do you mean by seminal plasma? All the fluids coming together. You know, in the case of males, you have accessory glands. These glands are going to secrete something and give nutrition to the sperm, it gives energy to the sperm and this and that. Okay, so this all secretions together, which are released by the 3 glands out there, you call this as seminal plasma. So the first gland to come and secrete is what? It is seminal vesicle. It is paired structure. There are 2 seminal vesicles on this side and this side. Both of them are going to release what? Fructose. So fructose anyway will be there. Why do you think fructose is there? To provide energy to the sperm out there. Now prostate gland, it is unpaired. It looks like a donut. And in this donut there is a hole, right? And through this hole goes what, my dear children? The urethra. Okay, you can remember like that. So it is not a paired structure. The only gland which is not paired is prostate gland, and it releases 2 things, calcium as well as enzymes. Both of them are very, very important for the sperm to help in fertilization process. Okay, for the sperm to do the fertilization process, you need calcium as well as the enzymes also. Going ahead, bulbourethral gland is the last gland, which is also known as the Cowper's gland. This is paired structure again like seminal vesicle, and it helps in what? Lubrication of the penis. It helps in the lubrication of the penis. So we have 3 things. So all of this secretion together, you call this as seminal plasma. Now seminal plasma, when it combines with the sperm, you call the whole thing as what? Semen. Now you call this as semen. So you are just asked about seminal plasma. It is rich in what? Fructose and calcium, glucose and calcium, DNA and testosterone, ribose and potassium. It is what? Fructose and calcium. Fructose by this guy, that is seminal vesicle, and the calcium by this guy, that is the prostate gland. Done? So your answer is A. Cool? Fine. Next question. Statement 1. Let's see. The process of release of sperms from the seminiferous tubules is called spermatogenesis. The process of release of sperms from the seminiferous tubules, do you call this as spermatogenesis? No. The process of formation of sperms is known as spermatogenesis. The process of release of sperms is known as spermiation. Okay, it is what? Spermiation. This is wrong, and you can remember like that, aviation, spermiation, it's like that. So they are going to release, okay, they are going to get released from the seminiferous tubules, and now they will be going to what? The accessory ducts, which are going to carry the sperms towards the, the urethra out there. Okay, so it is spermiation, it is not spermatogenesis. This statement is wrong. Statement number 2, the spermatids are transformed into spermatozoa by the process called spermiogenesis. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. So by the end of meiosis, if you have seen the whole process spermatogenesis, by the end of meiosis, you get globular cells which are known as spermatids. Like kids, they are immature. You want to make them long, just like sperms, you want to make them mature. And what are the mature form known as spermatozoa? So spermatids are converted into spermatozoa, and this process is known as spermiogenesis, not spermatogenesis, it's spermiogenesis. Okay, fine. Spermatogenesis is the whole process, spermiogenesis is this, and spermiation is the movement out of the seminiferous tubules. So this statement is correct, but this statement is wrong. Statement 1 is wrong. Statement 1 is incorrect, but the statement 2 is correct. So your answer is D. Cool? Chalo. Why I have given this picture is for you to, whenever you get the PDF, you can just go through it, so that if at all you forget what I have taught, at least you can see it and remember it. Now in spermatogenesis, if FSH hormone is not secreted from the anterior pituitary gland, which stage is affected? In spermatogenesis, my dear children, if at all FSH hormone is not secreted from the anterior pituitary. So gonadotropin releasing hormone is there, which is secreted by what? The hypothalamus. The hypothalamus secretes that, right? Now the GnRH which is released, that acts on the anterior pituitary, and the anterior pituitary releases 2 things. One is the LH and the other one is FSH. LH acts on the Leydig cells, and Leydig cells are responsible for production of androgens, testosterone. FSH acts on the Sertoli cells. Always remember, Sertoli cells are there inside the seminiferous tubules, and these Sertoli cells are going to release some factors which are going to do what? So basically, LH acts on the Leydig cells and it makes it produce what? Androgens. Where do you think the androgens are needed? Here, inside the seminiferous tubules, because there only sperm formation is taking place. So testosterone comes inside the seminiferous tubules, okay, and throughout the process of spermatogenesis, this guy should be here, testosterone should be here, which is why FSH acts on the Sertoli cells and releases certain factors. These factors says the testosterone that please stay here until the whole process of spermatogenesis is over, and especially it is needed in the process of spermiogenesis. So at the end stage of spermatogenesis, I told you there is spermiogenesis. The spermatids are converted into what? Spermatozoa. Here you especially need what? Testosterone. Okay, you need the high concentration of testosterone. So you can remember like that, yeah. So LH acts on the Leydig cell, LL, and Leydig cell produces, you know the function of Leydig cell, they produce androgens. These androgens goes into the seminiferous tubules where it is going to help in the process of spermatogenesis. But for them to stay over there, you need some factors. Where do you get these factors from? From the Sertoli cells. Who tells Sertoli cells to release these factors? FSH. Okay, so now you are being asked in spermatogenesis, if FSH hormone is not secreted, if this guy is not being secreted, then what will happen? Which stage is going to get affected? Formation of primary spermatocyte? No. Formation of spermatozoa? Yes, because this is known as spermiogenesis. Formation of spermatid? No. Formation of secondary spermatocyte? No. It is just this. Now, if at all you do not know that this is spermiogenesis, won't you lose your marks? Definitely. But since you're my students, will you lose your marks? No. Okay, so your answer is B. So always remember TID, kids, kids, you can remember like that, that's all. And now comes the most important thing that I want to tell you guys. Have you guys heard of KC90 yet? If at all not, then listen to me carefully. This is something that we are launching really soon, and this guarantees that you get a rank within 1000. In the examination that you are going to give, which is KCET, and if at all Comet K, then Comet K as well. So there is a 90-day crash course, okay, where we are focusing on preparation for your KCET examination, your Comet K examination, as well as your PU2 examination. So if you take this, full coverage is there. This is strictly offline. This is not online, this is offline, and this is going to happen at the 8 campuses of Diksha itself. So Diksha has campuses, I hope you know that. So Diksha is an offline venture as well, okay, majorly offline. This is the only channel which is what? Online, my dear children. So over here there is an offline venture. There are 8 campuses where you will be having these crash course, okay, and we are going to give you more details about that. But if at all as of now you have any doubts around it, that is when is it going to start and all of that thing, definitely ask us in the comment section. We are here to help you out. If you have more doubts, you can even call to this particular number. Works? And I'm telling you, my dear children, this is not a joke. So the previous year we had so many things being launched, the Abhyas test series, okay, and the PU2 blueprint test series, so many things are there, and there were children who genuinely got the help from it. They were top rankers and they came over here, they sat with us, we spoke to them and we heard their journey, and I'm telling you, you could be one among them the next year. And I really want to see all of you guys who usually comment down under the video, Sagar, I have Prajwal, okay, Rupa, and then Meenakshi. There are so many children who I can profoundly remember. For those of you, I'm telling you, Manasa, all of you guys, make sure that you're giving 100%, and not just these children who are there. Why do I remember them? Because they usually comment down, I see their comments, I usually am in contact with them through the comment section, my dear, and I want you guys also to be there, really active, ask me doubts, ask me questions, give the homework answers, all of it. And we really want to see you on the day of your results as well, okay, where you're really happy. Just imagine that scenario where you are coming over here with your parents all happy, your parents all proud. It's so good, right? So please definitely be a part of it. And as I said, if you want to have more information, definitely let us know in the comment section. Okay, now question number 11. To produce 2000 sperm and 400 ova, how many spermatogonia and oogonia are required? So from one spermatogonia, my dear children, this one spermatogonia undergo differentiation. You have one primary spermatocyte. This undergoes meiosis. From this point, meiosis happens. So it undergoes meiosis, primary spermatocyte divides into 2 secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes divides into what you call 4 spermatids, and then spermatids get transformed into spermatozoa. At the end you get 4 sperms, right? At the end from one spermatogonia you get 4 sperms. Agreed? Now over here in this case, my dear children, one primary oocyte is there, it divides into 2. It divides into 2. One cell is the first polar body which does not divide further. You have another cell which is another secondary oocyte, my dear children. This is the only one which is there. Now it will divide. When it divides, again my dear children, what happened? There will be a second polar body and just one ovum. So from one oogonia you get one. From one oogonia you get only one ova. So you are being asked, if 2000 sperm is there and 400 ova is there, how many spermatogonia and oogonia are there? So 2000 divided by 4, it's 500 spermatogonia, right? 500 of them give rise to each 4, 4, 4. That's why you get 2000 sperms. Now similarly over here, my dear children, you just have 400. You just have 400, and 400 divided by 1 is what? My dear children, it is just 400. So you would be having 400 oogonia. So one oogonia gives rise to one ova. So 400 ova means 400 oogonia. So 500 spermatogonia and 400 oogonia is your answer for this question. Done? Next question. The secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic division to produce 4 equal haploid what? Secondary spermatocytes. Okay, secondary spermatocytes are what? N. They are going to produce what? Second meiotic division happens and they will be producing spermatids, my dear children, the globular ones, each of them here N. There are 2 secondary spermatocytes, both of them give rise to spermatids. So 4 spermatids which later transform into spermatozoa. So your answer is what? B. Above this you have primary spermatocyte, 2N. Primary spermatocyte, okay, just a second. There will be one primary spermatocyte which divides into 2 secondary spermatocyte, and this divides into spermatids. Works? So your answer for this question is B. Going ahead with the next question. The dash hormone is secreted by the ovary in the later phase of pregnancy. So it is not produced during the entire cycle. It is mostly produced towards the later phase of pregnancy, my dear children. What is this hormone? And this is released by ovary. So there is only one hormone that is released by ovary during the later phase of pregnancy, and that is what? Relaxin, where it is saying the mother, relax, relax, everything will happen smoothly. So ovary is there in the female body, so she has to say that, okay, everything is going to be alright. You just have to take care of yourself. So your answer would be what? C, relaxin. It's not androgens, it's not estrogens, it is not progestrogens as well. Okay, so your answer is C. Going ahead. Which one of the following is not the function of placenta? Facilitates removal of carbon dioxide and waste materials from the embryo. Yes, embryo cannot move around, my dear children, cannot come and throw the waste in the municipal corporation or there. No, basically it is transferred with the help of placenta itself. CO2 as well as the waste materials go out with the help of placenta. Now secretes oxytocin during parturition. Do you think it secretes oxytocin during parturition? Is the placenta that secretes oxytocin? No, it's the pituitary gland. Okay, it's the pituitary gland. Actually, it's the hypothalamus that releases oxytocin, and it is stored in the posterior pituitary gland, my dear children. So it is pituitary that releases. So this is wrong. Facilitates supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo. Yes, it does. Secretes estrogen. Yes, placenta secretes 4 hormones: human placental lactogen, human chorionic gonadotropin, estrogen and progesterone. So your answer is basically what? The one that is odd one out is B. B for ball. Okay. 16th. In female, oogenesis is initiated during. In female, oogenesis, my dear children, when does it start off? During the process when someone hits puberty, that's when? No, that's the case of males. In the case of males, spermatogenesis starts off during puberty, my dear children. But in the case of females, it starts from the embryonic stage itself. So your answer is embryonic developmental stage. So your answer is D. In female, oogenesis is initiated during embryonic developmental stage. So this is the answer. Now, which among the following has 23 chromosomes? Spermatogonia, zygote, secondary oocyte or oogonia? 23 chromosomes. That means half the number of chromosomes. Spermatogonia, that is the mother cell, okay, the germ mother cell in the case of males, right? It will have 46 number of chromosomes because it has not started having meiotic divisions. zygote is having sperm and eggs chromosome together, so it is 2 and again diploid in nature. Secondary oocyte, my dear children, it is the one that you get from primary oocyte. Primary oocyte is 2n, and secondary oocyte which is being found, my dear children, it will be what? N, because the first polar body is also N. So it is reduction division that is happening after meiosis 1. So this is the one that will have 23 chromosome. What about oogonia? Oogonia is also germ mother cell in the case of females. It will be also having diploid. It has not started undergoing meiosis. So it's just the secondary oocyte which is the result of what? The first meiotic cycle out there. So this would be having 23 chromosomes. Okay, done? Deal? Now, 18. During pregnancy, the fetus develops limbs and digits. During pregnancy, the fetus is going to develop the limbs and the digits. When? Tell me first. So, first month, heart. I told you second month, limbs and digits. So, second month, if it is 2 months, my dear children, how many weeks will be there? 2 into 4. 1 month has 4. Now 2 months are there. To 2 into 4, it will be 8 weeks. So your answer is after 8 weeks. So you have to do the calculation like that. Now if you are asked about 3 months, so 3 into 4, 12 weeks. That means first trimester, first 3 months are done. Okay. First of all, you need to remember this, that limbs and digits are formed in the second month. Then only you will be able to answer all this thing. Identify the incorrect pair with respect to menstrual cycle. What is not true about menstrual cycle? Formation of corpus luteum happens from the 15th to 28th day. Corpus luteum, okay, so the cycle is of 28 to 29 days. Almost on the 14th day you have ovulation, and after that you have the corpus luteum being formed. So this is correct. 15 to 28th day, that's when the corpus luteum is being formed, because after ovulation it happens. Secretion of progesterone happens in the 15th to 28th day. Again, that is also correct, because once the corpus luteum is formed, that is the one that releases progesterone, so that is fine. Regeneration of endometrium, 5th to 13th day. Regeneration of the endometrium, 5th to 13th day. What do you think so? Does it regenerate? It does, but not too much. But let's see the other option. Disintegration of endometrium, 5th to 13th day. Is that true? Okay, so your disintegration of endometrium happens from the 1 to 5 days. Okay, the first day of the period cycle and the 5th day, until this particular point of time, and then slowly it is going to regenerate. So from 5th to 13th day, my dear children, that does not make any sense, so this would be wrong statement. So regeneration of endometrium from 5th to 13th day would be correct. Once it is shed, again it will be formed with the help of estrogen, that is from 5th to 13th day, but not too much regeneration would be happening. Okay, once after the ovulation process, it will be fully regenerated. So the only thing which is wrong is what? D. Disintegration of endometrium from 5th to 13th day. It happens from 1st to 5th day. Cool? Yes. Chalo. The corpus luteum secretes large amounts of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of. The corpus luteum secretes large amount of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of what? Any guesses? I told you right now, it is progesterone which is being released, and progesterone is there for endometrium. So when the progesterone is there, the endometrium is maintained really well. That does not mean estrogen does not do it. Estrogen also does it, but it needs progesterone to do it even better. Okay, so it is endometrium, not perimetrium, not myometrium, not cervical canal as well. Now going ahead to the next question. Which of the following statement is true? LH search induces menstruation. I don't know why I have put this picture, but okay. LH search, do you think it induces menstruation? No. LH search induces what? Ovulation, my dear children. Ovulation would happen, the ovum will be released. Right? So this is wrong. You are asked what is true. Regression of corpus luteum increases progesterone. If corpus luteum is dying off, do you think progesterone would increase? Wrong. This is also wrong. Progesterone would also decrease, my dear children, because corpus luteum is the one that releases progesterone. Now, diploid egg is formed after second meiotic division. Diploid egg, is there something that is known as diploid egg? There is only haploid egg. Okay, so this is wrong. Embryo differentiates from the inner cell mass of the blastocyst. This is correct. Yeah, this is why I gave the picture. So over here, you have different stages of the embryo. Right, zygote divides into to form embryo, and in the embryo there is a stage where what is happening, my dear children, the cells, outer cells are arranged like this. These are known as trophoblast, and this is going to help in the formation of placenta. And there are some cells which are grouped like this. It is known as inner cell mass, and they are the ones that will be forming the fetus later on. That is the embryo that is again going to go ahead with fetus. These are also embryonic stages. This is also embryonic stage. This is known as blastocyst stage, where the inner cell mass is going to form the actual embryo, and the outer cells which are there in this embryonic stage, it forms the placenta. Okay, so embryo differentiates from the inner cell mass of the blastocyst, correct? Yes. Fine. Next, 23rd, when does the second meiotic division occur in the secondary oocyte? Second meiotic division of the secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte is stuck, it has not completed the division. When does it happen? At the time of fertilization. When this sperm comes, my dear children, when it is coming to fertilize at this particular point of time, it will be finishing its meiotic division, and the secondary oocyte which is there, it will divide to form the second polar body and the ovum. Second polar body as well as the ovum. So it's not at the time of birth, it's not at the time of puberty, not at the time of ovulation, but at the time of fertilization. So your answer is B. Cool? Yes. Next, match the items given in column 1 with those of column 2 and select the correct option given below. Proliferative phase. What do you mean by proliferative? Over here the endometrium has just went off and now slowly it is being formed. This is known as proliferative phase. And in the same phase, follicles which are there, okay, they are going to mature into what? Graphene follicles. So proliferative phase, or you also call this as follicular phase. So A goes with 2. A goes with 2. I just have one option, so this should be my answer. Let's see that. Secretory phase. Secretory phase is when the endometrium is properly formed and endometrium itself releases some glycogen. Why do you think endometrium is releasing glycogen? Because if at all the egg and the sperm came together, it formed the zygote, and the zygote formed the embryo, and the embryo is now over here, and to provide nourishment to this embryo, there is what you call the glycogen being released out there. So over here, secretory phase is also known as luteal phase, because corpus luteum is the one that will be helping in maintaining of the endometrium, and with the help of progesterone, and the progesterone is the one that will make the endometrium secrete certain things. So your B goes with 3. Menstruation. Menstruation means what? The breakdown of the endometrial lining. The innermost lining is broken down. So C goes with 1. So yes, this is your answer. Okay. Now, last MCQ question. The secondary oocyte when released is covered by a non-cellular layer. What is this known as? So that means it is not formed of any cells. The secondary oocyte, it is released like this. There is one membrane out around it. What do you call this? This is known as the zona pellucida. Remember, it is acellular. That means it is not formed of any cells. And then around it you have what? Around it you have something else which is known as the corona radiata. Okay? Corona radiata. That is not made by the embryo, so that is not made by the secondary oocyte. It's only the zona pellucida which is made by the secondary oocyte. Granulosa cells which are there, they make up this particular corona radiata. Okay, granulosa cells are the ones that make up the follicles as well. Now going ahead with the first 3-marker question that we have, and that is parturition is induced by complex neuroendocrine mechanism. Tell. So how do you explain that? Yes, nervous system is involved. Endocrine means your hormonal system is also involved. I already told you the things that are happening up here in the uterus. I'll tell you again and listen to me carefully. So the baby which is there, the fully grown fetus which is there, my dear children, whether it's a boy or a girl, it is going to produce androgens, the male sex hormones. Okay, and these androgens are converted into estrogen with the help of what? With the help of the placenta. The placenta does it. So it's the baby and the placenta which is involved in this whole act. The estrogen, when its level increases, what happens? There is a layer that is known as myometrium over here, the muscular layer, right? In the myometrium, certain receptors becomes active when the level of estrogen is there. Okay, so what are these receptors known as? These are known as oxytocin receptors. That means they are going to get activated when there is enough amount of oxytocin hormone. This is a hormone. Now when the baby tries to move out, over here in the cervical region, there are certain stretch receptors. There are certain stretch receptors that become active, and it gives nervous signal, neuronal signal to what? To the mother's brain. In the mother's brain, you have a gland which is known as posterior pituitary gland. okay, posterior pituitary gland, which is going to release a very important hormone that is known as oxytocin. Now this hormone comes to the blood, this is hormone, right, and binds over here on the receptors, and now the myometrium is gonna contract. The myometrium in the muscular line, it is gonna contract, the baby is gonna come out. Again the stretch is going to be active, again loads of oxytocin. This is a positive feedback loop that goes on, my dear children, more and more and more until the baby comes out, and then the placenta also comes out along with it. So how do you frame the answer? Triggered by the cervical stretching. When the fetus reaches the full term, its head pushes against the cervix, activating what? The stretch receptors. The stretched cervix sends signals to the hypothalamus. Okay, now the hypothalamus is the one that actually releases oxytocin, and as I said, it is stored in the posterior pituitary. So the posterior pituitary secretes oxytocin in response. Now what happened? Oxytocin stimulates powerful contraction of the uterus. Oxytocin is a hormone, this is the nervous signal, and more contraction lead to what? More oxytocin releasing what? Ensuring what? Labor progresses until birth. So if at all you are not writing about androgens, progesterone and things like that, it's still fine, but make sure that you are mentioning that it's both placenta as well as the fetus which is responsible for the fetal ejection reflex. First start with that. Both of them are responsible for providing this particular reflex. Even though if you don't mention about estrogen and the receptors being active, or you can mention as well. If you mention, it will be a lot more better. Okay, and then start off all these points. Fine, done? Okay. Next, in the figure given below, parts A and B show the level of hormones which influence the menstrual cycle. Study the figure and write and answer the questions that follows. Okay, so name the organs, glands which secrete the hormones represented in the labeled part A and B. So what is A and what is B? What is A, my dear children? What is A? Come on, tell me. It is FSH and LH, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Right, and which is that organ which secretes it? FSH and LH is secreted by pituitary gland. So pituitary gland is the one that releases it. Now going ahead with next thing, estrogen and progesterone, B1. It is released from? It is released from the ovary. Ovary is the one that releases it. Okay, done. Now state the role of hormones secreted from part B on the uterus of human female during the menstrual cycle. So what is the role of estrogen and progesterone? What is the role of it? Estrogen stimulates the endometrial growth and the thickening. So initially, since only estrogen is going to be there in one phase, that is known as follicular phase or proliferative phase. Follicular phase or proliferative phase. During this time, you have just estrogen. So estrogen is going to help in the endometrial growth and thickening, and it prepares the uterus for what? The process of implantation. And not just that, when the level of estrogen goes up really high, it is the one that is going to cause LH surge. Okay, so when estrogen goes up, the level of LH and FSH also goes up, especially LH, and it causes LH surge that leads to what? The process of ovulation. So you are asked about what it does to the uterus. So you have to tell about this. That is, okay, it stimulates what? The endometrial growth and thickening and everything out there. If you're asked about progesterone, how do you say? That it is the secretory phase, but the level of progesterone is going to get high. What does it do? It is the one, this guy made the endometrium lining, but now this other guy is going to stabilize it, going to maintain the thickened endometrium, and it is also going to make sure that it secretes. I told you, the endometrium which is there, it starts secreting what? The glycogen, which is going to provide the nourishment to the embryo if at all the embryo is being formed. If fertilization do not occur, both the hormone level drop, leading to the process of menstruation. Can you write this with the name of the phases as well? If you write it, you will get your marks. Okay, so 2 marks for this study. Cool, done. Next question. During pregnancy, the level of hormones are increased several fold in the maternal blood. Name the hormones and write their importance. So this is a model question paper question, and so over here in your NCERT it is written that certain hormones are there in the blood, normal level, in normal human body, even when someone is not pregnant. But when they become pregnant, what will happen? It increases in several fold. So if at all a question is just like that, as it is being put over here, I can think of 3 hormones, that is prolactin, thyroxine and cortisol, which is given in your NCERT. Okay, they are not pregnancy pregnancy related, not pregnant, I cannot say like that. Okay, I'll reframe it. So they are produced in our body in general terms also, but when it comes to pregnancy, they are being released in several folds. The quantity of it is being produced in a more amount. Okay, so these are prolactin, thyroxine as well as what? This hormone, that is cortisol. Apart from it, during pregnancy you have the placenta being formed, and the placenta is also going to release certain hormones out there. So they are not increasing in several folds. If you are having a comparison between before and after, they are the new ones. They were not there before, but then they are the new ones. So initially I will request you to write prolactin, cortisol and thyroxine, and then go ahead with the placental hormones out there, and also the hormones released by the ovary, which is relaxin. So these are the things that you need to write. Go in order, that's what I meant. So over here the first thing that you need to write is about them. So mention that prolactin, thyroxine and cortisol are usually present in normal amount, but during pregnancy their amount is increased. What does the prolactin do? It is there that helps in the mammary gland. Prolactin is for lactation, lactation. You can remember like that. You don't need to write so many things. If at all you do not remember, initiates milk secretion after childbirth and everything is there. Okay. Now thyroxine, it is there in normal human body. What does it do? It helps in metabolism. It helps in maintaining the proper metabolic rate and also development. So the same thing goes over here. It helps in proper metabolism as well as development. Cortisol, it is from the adrenal gland. Adrenal glands is right above our kidneys. Okay. Now over here it is going to support fetal organ maturation. It is going to help in the support of the fetuses, okay, the baby's organ maturation, and also regulate in maternal metabolism. So if at all you do not remember all of this thing, just remember prolactin, mammary gland, thyroxine and cortisol for metabolism. Can you remember like that? That's all. And then you go ahead with the other hormones, that is the placental hormones, which are human chorionic gonadotropin. What does it do? HCG, what does it do? Basically, corpus luteum has to be maintained for production of progesterone. And this progesterone is going to help in the maintenance of this particular thing, that is the endometrium. This endometrium is needed, very much needed, until the process of the whole baby formation is being done, right? So over here there should be someone to maintain the corpus luteum. It was usually LH which was maintaining it, luteinizing hormone which was maintaining it. But cortisol, my dear children, okay, so not cortisol, corpus luteum, I'll tell you like this, that will be easy. So corpus luteum is the one that releases progesterone, fine, and it is done, this corpus luteum is controlled on the other hand by LH. When this guy releases progesterone, the progesterone sees this and says that I don't like you, you don't be released. Now if it is not being released, do you think corpus luteum can be maintained, my dear children? No. So then if corpus luteum is not there, do you think progesterone will be there? No. Okay. So during pregnancy, whenever pregnancy happens, there is someone who replaces the role of LH. Because anyway these guys cannot come together. It is HCG. HCG comes into this role and maintains the corpus luteum such that there is enough supply of what? Enough supply of progesterone that maintains the endometrium layer. That is a function of human chorionic gonadotropin. Progesterone, which is produced by the corpus luteum and later by the placenta, maintains the uterine lining, and estrogen also maintains the uterine growth. Human placental lactogen is for the process of lactation, and the last but not the least, you have relaxin being produced by the ovary. It is for what? It is for dilating the cervix such that the baby can easily move out during the pregnancy. Okay, so it helps in softening the cervix and relaxes the pelvic ligaments. The ligaments which are over here in the pelvic region, all of them, they are relaxed with the help of relaxin. Can you write that and you get your marks? Okay, just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, now list the functions of human placenta. So over here, what are the functions, my dear children? Placenta basically is the one that connects the baby as well as the mother's body, right? So and it is connected with the help of umbilical cord. So the baby which is there, the fetus which is there, and the placenta which is there, it is connected with the help of something that is known as umbilical cord, which helps in the transport. Now the CO2 which has to be moved out, the waste which has to be moved out, moves out to the placenta. Similarly, the oxygen which has to be taken up, the nutrients which has to be taken up, that is transferred to the placenta. And not just that, okay, it acts as temporary endocrine tissue. Okay, temporary as in if placenta is only there during the pregnancy, after that it goes off, right? After that it is being removed from the uterus itself. So placenta is going to act like temporary endocrine tissue, releasing certain hormones which are very much important for the process of pregnancy to happen, and we discussed that hormones right now. So you have to write the answer like this: placenta connected to the embryo through the umbilical cord, which helps in the transport of substances to and from the embryo. First, introduction, then explain. Placenta facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo, and third point you can write, also helps in removal of carbon dioxide and excretory waste materials, and then it acts as what? Temporary endocrine system. That's all. Cool? Next, briefly explain the sex determination in the case of human beings. So in the case of human beings, my dear children, males are having 2 chromosomes, that is XY, females have 2 X chromosomes. Okay, over here if in the gamete X is going, or in the gamete Y can go, here also X can go or X can go. Here there is no option, here there are options X and Y. This and this comes together, you get XX, that means it's a female. This and this comes together, again XX, that is a female. This and this XY, that is a male, and this again XY, that will be a male. So 50% of them are going to be males and 50% of them are going to be what? Females. That is the sex determination. Women are blamed for this, but is that correct? No. Why it is not correct, my dear children? Because women produces same type of chromosomes, but it is the males that produces X and Y types of chromosomes. Done. Cool. Now distinguish between menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. That is kind of a rare question that you see. So what do you mean by estrous cycle? Estrous cycle, you see them in non-primates, and menstrual cycle you see in primates. Primates are the one, both of them they are mammals only, and basically primates are the one that has more size for their brain capacity. Okay, they have more brain capacity, whereas in comparison to non-primates. Example of non-primates are cows, dogs, cats and everything. Primates are us, monkeys and all the different type of apes out there. Okay, so over here menstruation is where endometrium lining sheds if no pregnancy is there, right? Over here no menstruation, endometrium is absorbed. If there is no menstruation, basically if at all there is no pregnancy that is happening, if at all there is no fertilization that is happening, the endometrium which is there, it does not shed off. Rather than that, it is actually reabsorbed. A little amount of spots might be there here, and if at all you are someone who have had a pet in your life, you might know that females definitely they have some spotting happening. The blood really goes in spots, but most of it is reabsorbed, my dear children. There won't be menstruation. The endometrial lining does not shed off. Okay. Now sexual activity. Females are sexually active throughout the cycle, whereas when you talk about estrous cycle, over here the sexual receptivity is only during certain phases. That is known as estrous period or the estrous phase. Now frequency, typically monthly, 28 days in the case of humans. Over here it can be varying seasonally. That is all different thing. At least if you write these 3 points, that would be more than enough. It's a 3-marker question. These 3 points could be more than enough for you guys. Okay, since it is not even in an elaborate, given in an elaborate way even in your NCRT as well. So that would be fine. Now going ahead with 32nd question, that is draw a labeled diagrammatic sexual view of the human female reproductive system. So over here what all things are, what are the things that you should maintain? Definitely should be there is your ovary. Ovary is the one that releases the ovum, right? And my dear children, over here near the ovary you have fimbriae, the finger-like projections. And this is a part of funnel shaped structure which you call as infundibulum, and then you have a broad region which is known as ampulla, and then you have a narrow region which is known as isthmus. Now over here comes the uterus. This is the starting point of the uterus. The upper layer that you see this over here is known as uterine fundus, and the outermost layer here is known as perimetrium, and then you can mention myometrium, and the innermost layer which is there, it is known as endometrium. Fine. Now if you go down, this particular region is known as cervix, and the gap that you see over here is known as cervical canal, and then you see a bigger gap over here. It leads to a broader area. This area is known as what? The vagina. Done. All these things have to be mentioned, nothing else. No big things are there. It's easy. So here the only doubt that comes over here is this. So what you need to do is that, if at all, okay, similarly, and that's done, and make a layer outside. So this is what, don't make it too far from each other, make it a little bit closer. So this will be the cervical canal and this will be the vagina. Okay, so and make like this and make like this. That's all. Rest all of it is easy, right? So try it out. So this is a diagram based question that can come. Next question is this one, which is what? Make a neatly labeled diagram of the sectional view of the mammary gland. This came in the model question paper the previous year as well. So first of all, you need to remember the parts, then only you can remember the whole thing. So first thing is that in the case of the mammary gland, there are different lobes. So this is one lobe, okay, you can remember like that. This is another. This is another. So almost 15 to 20 mammary lobes are there, and inside each mammary lobes which are there, my dear children, there would be alveoli. Okay, mammary alveoli. So 15 to 20 mammary lobes, and each of them, my dear children, would be having this structure which is over here. This is round structure which is over here, which is known as mammary alveoli. Okay, now the alveoli which is there, it will be opening up like this. This structure is known as mammary tubule. Fine, here also you have alveoli. It will also open. Both of them join together to form what? This particular thing that you see is what? Mammary duct. Now the mammary duct over here, they will also have mammary duct over here. The duct will join together to form what? The mammary ampulla. The mammary ampulla. And the mammary ampullas come together to form the last thing which is known as lactiferous ducts. Lactiferous ducts. So same thing is being mentioned over here. Let's see it in diagrammatic. So over here alveoli is there. Alveoli opens into what? Tubules. Okay, the tubules come join together to form the duct. The ducts 1, 2, 3, 4, all of the ducts over here 1, 2 ducts join to form what? The ampulla region. And the ampullas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them join together to form what? The lactiferous ducts out there. Okay, and this is towards the nipple region. Over here, my dear children, you would be having enough amount of fat. Okay, on all the sides you would be having fat. At the upper region, at the behind region, you would have the rib. The rib would be having muscles in between. That's all. And this is the areolar tissue which is there. So it's not too tough as you think. If at all you know if at all you remember the flow of things, you will be able to remember the whole structure as well. So how do I remember is by this. I'll tell you. I'll tell in the one shot. But if at all you were not there, so dal fell on mat. Dal fell on mat. So mammary lobes, then alveoli, then tubules, then ductules, and then you have ampulla, and then lactiferous duct. So A for ampulla, A for alveoli, how do I remember it? AL is there, so this is ampulla. Okay, so this is ampulla, this is lactiferous duct. You can remember like that. Then, yes. Now, draw a neatly labeled diagrammatic sectional view of the male reproductive system. So, this is the actual sectional view, but obviously in exam you do not expect this to be drawn. So, mostly it is this which is being drawn, and for this you get marks as well. But again, I'll tell you, before attempting that on the paper, you please ask to the teacher who is going to check your paper. Okay, please ask them, ma'am, can I draw this if at all the sectional view is asked? Because this is not the sectional view, this is the actual sectional view. Okay, so that is a confusion that is there, but please ask them, and usually you would just have to make this, and it's a very easy diagram, not too difficult. I can show you if you want. Let me see how many questions are left. Okay, not too many questions are left, so I think I can show you. So over here, this is the testis. I'll show you one side. Okay. This is the testis. You would have the you would have the testicular lobules, my dear children. And inside the testicular lobules, what do you have? You have seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubules, they all come out and they form something that is known as tubular recti, but that is not mentioned over here, so let's not remember it. Okay, they form something which is known as the rete testis. Okay, oh sorry, I should not be labeling it over here. I'll label it here. It is known as the rete testis. Now, the rete testis, it moves. This is the accessory duct. This is through which the sperms are being carried out, right? So from here, things are going to move out like this with the help of something that is known as vasa efferentia, E for exit. You can remember that. So it is exiting the testis, but it is not able to exit it. Why? Because then it forms the next duct, which is the longest duct out there. You call this as epididymis. Now the epididymis, my dear children, it is going to form the next thing out there, which is known as the vas deferens. Now over here you have the urinary bladder. So assume that this is the urinary bladder, right? So this particular vas differens is going to get the secretion of another gland, accessory gland, which is known as seminal vesicle. Both of them now are going to open into a common thing which is known as ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct opens into what? The urethra. And the urethra, my dear children, it's long, pretty long. Over here you have the opening, and this is known as urethral meatus. Over here you have the external genital organ, which is known as the penis, and this is the glans penis, the enlarged portion. And over here you have a skin fold like this you can make, and this skin fold is known as foreskin. You should not be actually making like that, but that's how it is given in the NCERT, or you can directly make it like this as well. Okay, this is known as the foreskin, and that's all. Before that, let me finish it off. Okay, so this is seminal vesicle, and over here you would be having, as I said, a donut shaped structure which is the prostate gland, and here a small bulb like structure, bulbourethral gland. That's all. Same thing you have to draw on the other side, and make sure the urinary bladder is not lying like this. There will be a ureter. Ureters are attached to the kidney. Now this is the common passage for urine as well as the sperms. Done. Okay. Now write what? Write the schematic representation of spermatogenesis. Write the two events that occur in the ovary and the uterus during the follicular phase of the menstrual cycle. Okay, so first let's go with the spermatogenesis. Easy, right? So first thing first, let's think. So you have the sperm mother cell, which are known as spermatogonia, my dear children, and this would be what? 2n. This spermatogonia which is there, it is going to undergo mitosis to increase its number. It undergoes mitosis, okay? This cell which is there, it will again undergo mitosis to form new spermatogonia. The other cell which is there, it is going to get differentiated. It differentiates, that means it is not division, okay, it is like a maturation phase. So it matures into what? Into a cell that wants to form a sperm later on. So this is known as the primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte is also diploid in nature. It undergoes the first meiosis. Meiosis happens in two stages. In the first meiosis, you get two cells, both of them haploid in nature. This is the secondary spermatocyte. And my dear children, what happens? Basically, they also divide further. N. What do you get? You get spermatids at the end. They are immature, you make them mature, you make them sperms. This is known as spermatozoa. Mention this process as spermatogenesis. And this whole thing is what? Spermatogenesis. Okay, then so haploid starts from here. 23 chromosomes are going to be here, from here. The rest all are diploid in nature. 46 number of chromosomes. Cool. Now, second question. Write the two events that occur in the ovary and the uterus during the follicular phase. Follicular phase, I told you, it's also known as proliferative phase. So follicular phase, that means the follicles are going to what? Mature. Where is it happening? In the ovary. So the primary follicles in the ovary grow to become what? A fully matured Graafian follicle. This happens in the ovary. What happens in the uterus? I told you, while the follicles are developing, the endometrium is also reforming. So regeneration of endometrium with the help of what? Estrogen. With the help of estrogen happens in the uterus. So this is the next part of the story. Done? Cool? Yes, that's all. Easy question. And now the last question out there. Write the role of the following. Sertoli cells provides nourishment to the spermatogonia and releases factors, okay, that helps in the process of spermiogenesis. Leydig cells produces androgens, the male sex hormones, under the influence of what? The luteinizing hormone LH. Oxytocin in parturition. Oxytocin helps in what? Uterine contraction, such that the myometrium contracts and the baby would be expelled out. Menarche. Menarche is the first time a person gets the menstruation. First menstruation is known as menarche. Menopause, the last time a female gets menstruation. It is usually towards the 50 years of age. You have to write that. Sertoli cells supports and nourish the developing sperm. You can also mention about what? Releasing of factors which is helping in spermatogenesis. Leydig cells produces testosterone in response to LH, promotes sperm production and male secondary sexual characteristics. Oxytocin is in parturition, stimulates the uterine contraction for labor. Tell about myometrium and everything in detail. So this is just for you to remember, okay, but you need to write the extra things. Menarche, the first menstrual period signaling the start of the reproductive ability. Menopause is the end of menstruation, marking the cessation of fertility and the normal hormonal changes in the case of females. Done. So that's all, and let's end it. Now you tell me if you have any doubts, you can put it in the comment section below. Can you do that? If you can do that, that will be really great. And my dear children, if you like the video, please let me know. If you like the video, please share it with your friends. Please subscribe to the channel and do not be demotivated. Everything is going to be alright. Okay? So bye-bye. Take care.